Hey everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Code Remix Weekly. We are your hosts. My name is Tim Blake, and with me, Sam Snyder.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here.
And as always, we're going to take you through all the things that are new this past week in OpenRewrite Emitter. And then we're going to do a deeper dive on a particular topic. And the topic for this week is going to be looking at the support that we added for running OpenRewrite recipes on Android projects. So that's pretty neat. There's been quite some demand for that. And of course, now we can start to build out that catalog of recipes to allow you to modernize your application there, while also bringing along all the recipes that we already have to do common tasks like common static analysis issue fixes, but now for Android. So pretty good. But first, we're going to take you through some of the things that are new in the past week or so. And the first thing that is new is that we put out a new version of the September edition of the Modern Monthly newsletter. So you can subscribe to this in a number of ways. I really like the LinkedIn integration that we have. So if you go there and you just want to get caught up on everything that's new in the past month, then you can read all of that in a nice condensed fashion. There'll be some of the things that you see us highlight on the Code Remix Weekly editions. But in this case, just have a nice overview that you can also read at your leisure once a month. Now, as you can see from the newsletter, one thing that is new is that the ebook that we've been promoting over the past couple of weeks is now available. So if you want to read more on AI for mass scale code refactoring and analysis, then this is now available. You can see there's 4 chapters there, all diving into various aspects of how you can use AI reliably at scale. And if you want to get your own hands on an edition, you can do so by going to this particular form. And I'll share the link in the chat, and then we can highlight it as well. So you can see exactly how we are using AI to really make reliable code changes. Just something that is just you won't see elsewhere. Now, also new this week, or really like the past couple of hours, is that we did a new release of OpenRewrite. And there is, of course, a ton of changes in there because we release every 2 weeks to give you a really regular cadence of things that you might want to pick up. And in this case, you're looking at just a snapshot of the changes, but I'll take you through some of the recipe modules in a bit. But one thing that we want to highlight, and Sam, you've worked towards this quite a bit, is that we now have better support for Gradle build scripts. Could you elaborate on that just a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So in Gradle, there are no shortage of different ways to declare your dependencies. An old XKCD comic about 14 standards and then adding n+1 comes to mind. But a fairly common way of declaring dependencies in Gradle is to have a script plugin, a freestanding file ending in .gradle or .gradle.kts, which defines some common dependencies or common dependency versions for the build as a whole. This is particularly common in multi-project builds as opposed to individual single project builds. So if you have a multi-project build and you have dependency declarations inside of a script, you may find it useful. And I will point out that this change requires the new release of OpenRewrite that Tim just mentioned, and it requires you to be using, in particular, this latest version of well, not, I guess not the latest. There's been a patch release since then, but at least Gradle plugin version 6.23.0. Although getting in these patch releases is better. So yeah, this kind of this work is still a bit ongoing. So like I've tried out like upgrade dependency version, and it works, but I haven't fully exercised all of the Gradle dependency management recipes in this scenario. So your mileage may vary. Kind of next on my list to do is to make sure that find and fix vulnerable dependencies, one of our popular flagship recipes, which compares your full dependency closure against the GitHub Security Advisory database and does upgrades for you. I think I may need to adjust that a little bit for it to be able to upgrade dependency versions that are found in freestanding scripts, but that's kind of next on the docket, so you can kind of look forward to that for any of you out there who use Gradle builds with script plugins to manage your dependencies.
Yes, yeah, and that's great because you get to use the recipes that we already have, and we add support in one place, and then you don't have to do anything special, and you'll just get those improvements to your projects as well. So
Yeah.
really good to have yet another way of defining your dependencies covered with Gradle. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So, and then beyond that, of course, there is a ton more things that we can take you through. So I'll take you through a number of tabs of things that have been changed in the past week, and I'll highlight just a couple. So one of the things that is new in the Rewrite Maven plugin is that we've had 2 community contributions. One looking to alter the default logging, the logging level for the changes that were made, because sometimes folks have plugins that alert when you have any kind of warning log, whereas that is what we use by default when we produce changes. So if you want to have that configurable, there's now a change contributed there. And then also we've had a new change added in where you maybe want to just add one more extension to files that should be picked up as a plain text mask. But you don't want to have to specify the entire list of plain text masks that we had before. So that was kind of cumbersome, and it's now been improved by a contribution from a friend of ours, and that is now released. So look through the docs that we have on the Rewrite Maven plugin. That's available if you go to the Rewrite Maven plugin and then the GitHub site attached to it, where you can see all the details on the new options available on the existing goals. So that's available too. And then beyond that, we have a couple more changes. So as I called out, I think 2 weeks ago, we added support for migrating Apache POI project to the latest 3.17 version. So that has now been released. So you're able to use that in your migrations if you want to adopt to later versions there. And then also new in the Rewrite Migrate Java is that we have a couple more recipes to help you modernize your application. This one in particular from Sean Sullivan has been added to a Java 7 migration. So if you have projects that are still waiting to pick up features that you can now take from your Java 7 and above, you are able to run these recipes and get these improvements. Also new is quite a bit of improvements on the rewrite testing frameworks. And you can see we have 3 separate new contributors over the past 2 weeks that have each contributed something to the recipes that we have to just ensure that your search migrations are more fluid, that you run into fewer issues if you are using something like JBehave or TestNG. And all of that just kind of comes together and is of course hooked into the JOS 4.5 migration, which in turn is hooked into the Spring migrations that we do, such that you get just better tests, better assertions, better error messages if something fails, all just by running the recipes integrated into the rewrite testing frameworks. Now, as the last one I want to highlight, we've had the improvements on Rewrite Spring, where we now have better support for migrating Kafka applications, where they've done a change in the Kafka template to where you, instead of getting a listenable feature, now get a completable feature. And that is a change that we can now automatically update for you. Same thing with some MongoDB related changes. If you're coming from older Spring Boot versions, we now automate those changes for you and make it part of the Spring Boot best practices that you can run, which now comes out to a total of some 2,600 recipes that together modernize your applications up to newer Spring Boot and Java versions. Really neat stuff. Good to see that all come together. So that's in terms of new things in this past release. As always, we'll send out a tweet with which summarizes this. We'll have our rewrite recipe bomb release, which pulls all those versions together to give you the aligned versions that you should be using. And then with that, let's have a very brief look at some of the events coming up over the next couple of weeks. And first up is a webinar that's going to be in 6 days, where Mike will take us through how he has automated parts of how we document OpenRewrite and Modern as part of the Gitbook and Modern CI/CD for your docs webinar. So that's coming up next week. And then beyond that, we're going to be at JConf Dev at the end of this month in Dallas, where there'll be a workshop on how to write your own OpenRewrite recipes. And then also we'll be at the Gradle DPE Summit, where Sam will be presenting on how to modernize your builds at scale. Justine will be in Canada to present at the Montreal Java user groups on how to modernize your applications with OpenRewrite. And then finally, at the very start of next month, I will be at DevX Belgium to give a workshop on transforming your code with OpenRewrite and Refaster, joined by a friend of ours and a friend of the show as well, Rick Ostendriver, who will highlight the Refaster side of modernizing your applications. So that's it in terms of updates new in the past week. Of course, we're looking forward to next week, when we'll probably have tons more things to announce as well. I know that I've been accepted to yet more conferences and Java user groups, so there'll be some more events in the very near future.
I feel like you're on the road so much, Tim, that you could probably do a better job of like living out of a van or just living on the road than a lot of Instagram influencers who make that their lifestyle.
That is the dream. Yes, I know one friend of mine who has a van, and he'll either throw his mountain bike in the back or a snowboard, and then just go through the conferences circuit and join whatever is in season for the adventure outdoor sports. So
nice.
You gotta have some dreams.
I know you enjoy climbing and bouldering, but are tragically located in the Netherlands, which is completely flat. So have you started choosing conferences to apply to based on which are in mountainous areas?
I have had my eye on quite a few where I was hoping to return to Davos, Morocco this year, and I'd already planned a very nice hike to do there. But sadly, I have some conflicting travel plans, so I can't make it out there. But,
unfortunate. Well, you heard it here first. If you want to get Tim to come to your conference, consider putting your conference next to a good mountain that he can climb.
Any Java user groups, I'll take it just somewhere mountainous, and I'll be there. So.
Excellent. Okay, so the main topic for today is our recently added support for parsing sources from Android projects. This has been a long requested feature of the Gradle plugin. Gradle being the canonical build system for Android. We haven't made any changes to the Maven plugin, so I understand that it's possible to build Android applications in Maven. So we don't currently believe that that's a very popular option. So if we're wrong about that, and the lack of Android support on Maven is like really hurting you, or you really want that now that it feels tantalizingly close on the Gradle side, let us know, and that could affect the priority. Or even better, you could look at what we today I'm going to be discussing how we implemented support for it in the Gradle plugin. And so you could go, if you were really enterprising, go do something similar in the Maven plugin and raise a pull request with us. So in the Gradle plugin, in Rewrite Gradle plugin, 6.22.0 is the latest version, or the first version that supports parsing sources from Android projects in any capacity. And let's just go ahead and take a look at how that support has now manifested on the SaaS. We have here on app.modern.io, which again is free for any open source project. So if you have a project that you would like to be able to use this interface on, that is an open source project on GitHub, if it's not already within the list of some 32,000 projects that we ingest over here, just let us know that you want it in there, and we can get it added, and you can get access to using this interface and these tools to run recipes on your open source projects. So in here we have created an Android organization, which has a selection of some 63 repositories that we know to use Android. So if you're looking for a place to try out some of these Android related recipes yourself, you are welcome to come in here, select that organization, and play around with that. And so, kind of, I figured just to demonstrate that these projects have Android, we can use the find Gradle plugin recipe, searching for com.android.application, and we see that we're getting results from these repositories, showing that that their Gradle builds, import the Android plugin in some capacity. So that is, so yeah, all of these are Android projects, and all of like the dependency management recipes that you're used to for Gradle, obviously work the same on Android projects as they do on a regular Gradle, Java, or Kotlin project. But now, kind of the new thing is that all of these, now we're actually parsing the source code as source code rather than just plain text files or parse errors. One of the fallback options for when we don't properly support things. So here I've run our popular common static analysis issues recipe on this Android group, and we could just click into these and see that we are getting code results. In this case, this one's Java and this K9 mail application, which I think is like a Thunderbird or an email client for Android. This one happens to be in Java, and we're getting all of the same sorts of changes we would expect from any other, any regular Java project in here. We similarly get results in a bunch of these other projects. I wanted to see if we had one. When I was clicking through these earlier, I found some Kotlin results. I know Kotlin is very popular in the Android ecosystem now, being these are Java. How about News Android? Are you Kotlin maybe? Yeah, Kotlin being one of the official language of Android according to Google. I expect this will be an area where our Kotlin language parser, here we go. Here's a profile activity, that KT file, which was getting some changes around adding adding parentheses to single statement ifs, kind of same as you would in Java. So yeah, so we support Java, we support Kotlin, and now we support both of those in the Android ecosystem. What we don't have yet is any really new Android-specific recipes. We've been talking about creating a rewrite Android module just to have a place for people to put, pull requests to add recipes to. We haven't created that yet, but if we do, we'll certainly announce it in the OpenRewrite community Slack and OpenRewrite community Discord. And so if you see this and you're like, oh boy, I'm an Android developer, I have been waiting to, contribute recipes for this ecosystem for a while now. I would like to submit a pull request. Please tell me where to put it. You can nudge Tim or I in either of those places, and that would rapidly expedite the process of getting that repository created and wired up. So yeah, keep an eye out there, or nudge us if necessary if you're looking for a place to put your Android recipes. I will say that I don't think we at Modern, I don't think any of us are planning to actively develop any Android recipes in the short term. Although that could always change if we have a customer or big like open source partner who comes to us with a proposal. But at least at the moment, I think we're looking for contributors from the open source community who do more Android development as their primary thing. For myself and for most of our colleagues at Modern, I think our background is more on the Java and on the server side of things. So Android is maybe not our native ecosystem as developers. So if Android is your native ecosystem and you have been waiting to apply the power of OpenRewrite to that space, I look forward to hearing from you and to reviewing your contributions. So that's kind of. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
It's been brought up quite a bit in the community because, of course, we didn't have support, so we wouldn't. There weren't a lot of folks that were able to use these capabilities yet, but it's very nice to see everything come together because, yeah, previously, if you even tried to run a recipe, you would run into not having the right type of file identified. You wouldn't have any type attribution. Things would just not so subtly break down. And now
Yeah.
we can finally bring our whole recipe catalog along and allow you to do all the things you want to be doing. And I think I'll even spin up that Rewrite Android repository just to have a place where you can log
Excellent.
some issues if you have suggestions for recipes that you want to make available. Because of course there are major versions that we know you want to be migrating in between. And we're going to make that possible for you with the recipes that we already have. And just be nice to have a place to collaborate with all the folks that have been asking for this. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so then figured I would show just a little bit about the implementation of how this works. So this is, I have a Rewrite Gradle plugin cloned and loaded up in my IDE. Let's make that text size just a smidge bigger. And we now have a bifurcation in the place where we go to list all of the source files within a project that should be parsed by the OpenRewrite parsers, where it now checks to see if the project is an Android project. And if it is, it kind of forwards it to what we call the Android project parser, which is substantially similar in its contents to a regular Java project. Honestly, as we implemented this, I was surprised that there were not more differences between this implementation and the implementation of parsing a regular Java project. So this is still early days for us, and I would not be surprised if it turned out that larger or more complex Android projects had configurations that surprised us and maybe resulted in some bugs. So if you have a larger, more complex Android project, I would encourage you to try this out. Help us kick the tires a little bit, put it through its paces, see if your Android project works exactly the way it should. But so anyway, so in the implementation of the Android project parser, we end up querying the Android Gradle plugin, AGP, from I believe it's Google who maintains that, or maybe they turned it over to Gradle. I'm not sure of the exact ownership of the AGP at the moment, but we go and load it up and request it to list all of the Android project variants. And in Android projects, is common for the same sources to be covered by both release and debug variants. A debug variant being, having all of the, not being minified, having debug symbols, and the release variant potentially being minified or compressed to result in lower final bundle sizes to publish to the Google Play Store or elsewhere. And that was initially a challenge for us, as in the OpenRewrite model, there should only ever be one canonical copy of a source file. Because if you had two source files with like the same path, that at the end of running your recipe, that they would both be written to the same place, and you have like a last one wins sort of situation. So I think it here that we end up taking the information for a given file from whichever variant we look at first, but I don't think it shouldn't make a difference for like static analysis purposes and for OpenRewrite refactoring purposes, whether we were ultimately getting our information from the debug variant or from the release variant. But if you find some strangeness with that, let us know. And so then, we go through the project getting all of the Java sources and all of the Kotlin sources that may exist, pass those through the appropriate parsers, and then, go through the resource directories with all of the, for all the non-code files, all your JSONs, all your properties, all your YAMLs and the like, and wrap those all up into the final set of LSTs that the recipe is applied to. So yeah, Android people, take a look. Let us give it a try. Let us know what you think. I want to hear from you on social media, in the comments on this video, in our open source community Slack. What kind of recipes you want, and even better, what kind of recipes you plan to contribute in order to kind of flesh out this ecosystem and bring the promise of mass automated refactoring and always up-to-date software ever more into the out of into the present day, out of the halcyon ideal of software that maintains itself into the real world.
And of course, we are here to help. We have a Slack channel,
Absolutely.
we have a Discord channel where you can ask any questions. We have a workshop that you can work through to learn about how to develop these recipes, and some of them are just really trivial. You need a couple lines of YAML, and then you're able to define migration steps using the building blocks that we have. Others, you would be able to write a single class with 2 methods and have that do the replacements for you. And all of that will help you to modernize your applications now also for Android. So pretty good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can, and in addition now to the code changes, you may find it useful to or a useful reminder to recall that all of the like dependency management and Gradle manipulations recipes for doing things like manipulating plugin versions or dependency versions are pretty much equally applicable in this ecosystem as they are in the kind of standard Java JVM space. So if you want to if you have a bunch of Android repositories and you're considering modernizing all of them onto the latest version of Gradle or the Android Gradle plugin, or upgrading some library that you're using, remember that you can pair together all of the dependency and the tooling updates with the code changes to get that lovely peanut butter and jelly sandwich of a complete refactoring recipe. And for the Europeans and the non-Americans in the chat, if you've never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, that's one of America's cultural exports that I think really holds up, and everyone who tries it basically agrees. Oh yeah, this is really good. We should have done this sooner. You ever had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Tim?
I can't say I have. No. I've had them like separately, but never together. No.
It works. Well, next time we hang out in person, we'll have to have some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They're a good treat.
I think I preferred the lunch we had 2 weeks ago, but we'll see.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, when I was in Amsterdam briefly, Tim was able to take a train across the Netherlands to hang out with me for a little bit. It was a good time. Very hot day.
Yeah. I can say that looks nothing like today in the Netherlands. It's but yeah.
So I think that's about all we have for the intro to Android development. Look forward to seeing your recipes. Look forward to seeing what people do in this space. And if you know Android better than we do and we mess something up, let us know and we can work together to get that sorted out. And if you build your Android projects with Maven and are feeling really sad and hurt and left out that we only added support for Gradle, also let us know about that. And maybe we can do something to help make you feel better about that.
Absolutely. So know that we're here to help. We have our entire recipe catalog and all the resources to help you build out support for Android. And then with that, we look forward to hearing from you what we can do to better modernize your Android applications. So with that, thank you very much for tuning in. And we'll be back next week with a different topic again. And then we hope to see you all then. So thanks all, and we'll be in touch. Cheers.
Cheers.